What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Jess the Total Package and Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, overachievers. For audio fans, give us an Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and
We're not sharing opinions, we're spitting facts.
Okay, all right, buddy. All right, simmer down. Or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel and check out exclusive content on Daily Motion at Our Wrestling Podcast. On social media, can you give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? Jess, hopefully this is the first of many installments, but this is the first. Overachievers, what is your criteria? What are we talking about today?
Not to be confused with like overrated, because like a lot of people throw overrated around and all that stuff or whatever, and I'm like, I think some people confuse overachieving, or some people consider certain people overrated, and I'm just like, oh no, like they're total overachievers. Like, and I have two people that I had in mind when I thought about this instantly. One of them was the subject of whatever, I don't know if it was a Reddit thing I was on or a stupid Twitter thing. And one of the overrated people was this person, and I was like, they're an overachiever. How are they fucking overrated? That makes no sense. Like, and so I was like, there is a difference, isn't there? And I thought about it, and I was like, I want to do an overachieve. So we're gonna go around the table. We all have some people, and these are people that overachieved, that had no business really like being as successful that they were. Whether it's they weren't as good as wrestlers as the rest of the people of their time, or something. There's always something.
And
Even
they
if you don't
saw
wrestle
success.
well, you have charisma, whatever. But then you have overrated. You got to be careful, like, because the common people that you see on the overrated sites is like Luger, which I kind of disagree with as I get older, and Goldberg, the Warrior. Those people like are always on the overrated list. This is different than that. This is like overachievers, people that really had no business doing it, or they were not the wrestling prototype per se.
No expectations, maybe. No expectations.
Or they were the wrestling prototype, and that's what worked for them. Like, which is the guy that I will offer first when Craig's done. Sorry. Like that I had in mind, like for this.
Yeah, there's like two ways to look at it. It's like people, I think, that had no business is a great way to describe it. You people who had no real talent or physique or something, but they had the passion and
they just understood how it all worked,
and so that's why they blast through, and somehow, despite all odds, they still succeeded. But then there's all folks that like, maybe they just happened to get more achievement than they probably deserved when they didn't really have the passion, but had those like skills, but didn't really like love it. So it's
there's
a lot of criteria, I think, in my head, and I had a trouble thinking of things that would fit the criteria, because I'm not even sure if it's overachievers, but I think I got it.
It's a thin line. Yeah, it is a thin line. So I'll go first just because this is not the person that was in question or whatever, but this person is identical to the other one that I'm probably going to leave on the table for one of you guys to get, because I'm almost positive you guys have this person. I am going to offer up the Honky Tonk Man, because he had no business being, I mean, had limited ability.
I thought about him quite a bit, but he knew where to be, knew his spots.
Yeah, he had limited ability in there, but he had a character, and he was in the right place at the right time, which we have done episodes of that. Right place, right time. We did a couple installments of that, which kind of blends into this overachieving thing. He had no right to be as over as he was. Him and Jimmy Hart were fucking white hot heels. It was ridiculous. Like, people would throw shit at them and like want to kill them every night. And he had so much heat. Like, but he was not nearly as talented as Savage or Steamboat or any of the other intercontinental areas. Santana, Orndorff, like those people in that area. Like, he was not nearly as talented, but for some reason, and even everyone in their books, Brett, they're like, Honky was safe, but he was like the irritating safe. Like, when he hits you, it's like, didn't even fucking hurt. Like, they're like, he hit.
He wasn't he wasn't gonna do anything.
Yeah, and so he was just like, he wasn't athletic. He didn't bump like great for you or whatever, but his character was so big. I don't know how that's not a glaring example. And he was the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He was really the longest. But he just tapered that on with I'm the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Until Gunther finally broke it,
Finally broke it last year. For all this time, since 1988, that stood all the way until 2023. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's just really crazy. And he lives off that year run to this day, or that year and a half run to this day. That's all his little fucking signing boost when he's at WrestleCons and all that. Honky Tonk Man, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Like, it's crazy. And then he always puts the weeks or the days that he was IC champion. It's like, goddamn, like just he's an overachiever. Like, he was a total overachiever. Like, didn't do a lot of stuff. Got a lot of shit because he was Jerry Lawler's cousin. So of course, when he broke into Memphis, people were like, "Of course you are. You're Jerry's cousin." But like, he earned it, and he had no business like being over in the WWF in the original hotspot boom period in the '80s. Like, he was one of people still talk about him to this day.
Hardy Dog Man scoop. He's in the ropes. Wait a minute. Did the Dragon pin the Honky Tonk Man? I don't know. Or did the Honky Tonk Man pin the Dragon? I'm not sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest.
I can't believe it. Honky Tonk won. Unbelievable. And you said he wasn't a contender.
Good
Right.
one.
100%. It was in my mind. I'm like, if someone doesn't bring that up, I'm going to.
But there is someone else that one of you has to choose, and we've actually been talking about him recently. Where I was like, they're the same. Him and Honky are the same.
I don't think I'm going to get it then, but I do have someone. Craig, did you want to go first before I throw it out?
Shoot, brother.
It's the first person that came in my head, and Honky was the second, Jess. So it's right there with you. I gotta put the Miz on it. I gotta put the Miz on it.
That's the other one. That's the other one.
I have to. That was the one, right? I mean,
he was on Twitter and they put him on an overrated list. I'm like, how the fuck is Miz overrated? He's an overachiever. You don't know what overrated means.
You just didn't have expectations for the guy. And
he's an overachiever.
Anything you ever possibly imagine. Okay, so let me try to paint this picture as best I possibly can. This is basically a reality TV star when it was kind of just coming up, and he was doing Real World, Road Rules, that kind of thing. But even in the midst of all that, he was doing a ton of stuff with his fake little $20 championship belt, and he would wrestle people, or do promos while he's on reality TV because he always wanted to be a wrestler. And then he gets a semi break, which some people are like, well, I'm not wrestling, so this sucks. He's like, well, you're going to be an announcer on SmackDown when SmackDown first came out. Just if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't Raw, but SmackDown when it first released. He did the first hoorah, which is kind of just ripping off, the Marines or whatever, hoorah, and he was getting booed. And we've seen the Miz promos as one of the greatest heels of all time. They did greatest heels, and Miz was on the list. And some people will go, wow, I'm getting booed here. This sucks. I'm going to lose my job. I'm supposed to be an announcer. And the Miz is like, we got something here. This is working. This is a reaction. And he understood it immediately. That's the difference. And I think that's why he's such an overachiever. A reaction is a reaction. If it was good, it was great cheers, he would have taken it. If it was boos, he's like, I'm going to take it because that's something. They're reacting to me in a way that's going to spin you either to a face or to a heel. And he worked that. And, if you fast forward, there's a ton of things that Miz did in between this portion, but there's also, not to mention 2 WWE championships before we even get to this point. But I don't know if you guys remember the SmackDown After Hours, whatever they call it. I can't remember what it was. Talking Smack, I think it was called, with Daniel Bryan, and he cuts this promo that's so real and so to the bone because Daniel Bryan says, "I think you're a phony. I think you wrestle, to just not get hurt, and I don't like that. You wrestle scared." And Miz is like, "What did you just say to me?" And he loses it. It was like Miz says later, "I don't even remember what I said." I'm like, but it was one of the most like gut-wrenching promos. And I love Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan could have taken a note from Miz's playbook for a moment. Like, there's a reason why I wrestled for 20 years and never been hurt, and you're hurt every other year. And cuts that on the Daniel Bryans of the world that everybody loves, and people come out going, the Miz is something else. And let me just read the accolades here, if I can. If I'm going too long, tell me. So he's a 2-time WWE champion. He's an 8-time Intercontinental champion. 2-time United States champion.
I think he's responsible.
9-time tag team champion. So yeah,
the Intercontinental, what his run that he did. We saw him lose it when we went to WrestleMania in New Orleans when he lost it to Seth Rollins. But that whole run before that, he revitalized the Intercontinental Championship. He was like, yes. I want this belt to mean something, and he pushed Vince every day. He's like, no. I want prominent matches. I want a spot every fucking week on Raw. I'm going to push this belt and talk about it. And people, even online, were like, the IC title almost means something again because it had been tarnished so bad. But I mean, he's like, right. And Miz brought that back. That run to me is one of the greatest Intercontinental Championship runs ever. Like he put it back on the map. Like he's such an overachiever. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think to put a bow on like the reason he's an overachiever is there's so many flash in the pans that started, that thought they could do it, that thought they could swing it, that didn't come from any lineage or wrestling school. And Miz came as a reality star, was hated, was booed, was banished from the locker room.
But he used it. Yeah, banished from the locker room. You're right, Craig. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Right?
Somebody said like, did you get chicken on my bag or some bullshit? Like that was the whole thing.
And then
it wasn't even him.
I have to defend them. You cannot stay in like the locker room, etc. But the thing with him is like you can see the passion and the heart he had, even when he was doing Road Rules and whatever he wanted to do. He always in his heart just wanted to be a WWE.
How many moments do you two get? Honestly, in life. Thank you. Oh, I'll take it, Barclays. Because, in life, you're always told that if you work hard, if you chip away, if you plug away, if you do your job, then your moment will come, and I am sick of waiting for my moment while two undeserving people like you two get moments week after week after week.
I hate to say I don't know what's going to top Overachievers on the Miz, but Craig, that's why I asked if you wanted to go before me. Even if Miz was your guy to pick, I was going to give you that
he's on
shot.
my list. He's on my list.
Right. What do you got, man?
I'll go to someone current actually, and Darby Allin. I think as a guy.
Oh yeah. That's actually a really good call.
Glorified stuntman. Star of the Indies. He doesn't have a great body.
Small.
And yet small.
He's in shape. He's just small. He's not.
And yet the reason why he came to my mind here is because he said something like, the reason why I give my all every single time is because I will not go back to what did he used to do? Shit. Waiting I think it was waiting tables or something. It was a dishwasher. He's like, I will not go back to being a dishwasher. I know what that's like. And that's why I never take any of this shit for granted. And so every match that he has, you go, my God, Darby, you're going to die. So it doesn't matter if it's collision, if it's dynamite, if it's a small thing, you're just like, why? He always has a moment, and he's always just like rubber, and he's had some recent injuries, but he's always managed to protect himself.
And one of those injuries because he got hit by a fucking bus or a car. What did he get hit by?
right. In New York. Yeah, he just takes the calculated risks, and he's one of the pillars of AEW, like really. And to see him kind of do what he's done, no business. So whatever he does from here on out, I think he's absolutely overachieved and gone beyond what you think of. He has to be respected back in the locker room.
He's like Spike Dudley meets Mick Foley.
Code red by Darby. Saying so coffin drop. Coffin drop to the spine. No way. Do it again. Nah, he's going too far. Do it again. No way he hits it. Coffin drop. 1, 2, 3.
The winner of this match and the new TNT champion, Darby Allin.
We'll do one more round. I'm going to leave another low-hanging one that I think you guys might have. And I'm just going to keep it with the older 80s, 90s guys. I'm going to go I'm going to go with the Nasty Boys because they have no business. They both had flat bodies. They both were sloppy as shit. But if you go down, Dave came super prepared reading all the Miz's accomplishments. That was awesome. If I read the Nasty Boys accomplishments and what names they were in there with, you'd be like, what? How did that fucking happen? Because I'll rattle off Legion of Doom. I'll rattle off the Steiner Brothers. I'll rattle off,
Demolition,
Natural Disasters. I'll rattle off like all these people, the Rockers, the Midnight Rockers.
They were Demolition? I'm sorry. I thought they were with Demolition.
No, they were slightly after Demolition. The Hart Foundation. Like they were in there with like some of the greatest tag teams ever and beat some of them too. And won the WWF tag titles and the WCW tag titles. And they were in there with Harlem Heat. And they were in there with the Steiners. Steiners. But like, it's just, it's crazy. Like
if you can say it twice, it's fine.
If you read that and then you look at their bodies, everyone's like, they were sloppy as shit. And like, but you knew they were so, especially Knobs, they were so fucking animated and into it that like they sucked you in. You just accepted they were sloppy brawlers because that's what they wanted you to think. But they got in there
That
and
was their identity. Yeah.
they took
Very
the
good,
Doomsday
Jess.
device. They fucking Steiner suplexed him every fucking which way.
Yeah.
But
They took what they gave, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my god, all their matches with Cactus Jack and Max Payne.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Like it's
And
like,
Sullivan and
Right.
whoever fucking stepped up and just wanted to brawl.
Fortunately, even though Power and Glory had been eliminated, they made certain Legion of Doom was just eliminated.
And that's the second time Animal had gone.
Look at this. Look who wins. The Nasty Boys of all teams are going to be facing the Hart Foundation at WrestleMania. And the Legion of Doom is not happy about it at all.
That's lovely. I didn't think of it, but that's definitely a perfect example. Craig, you want to go, buddy?
Yeah. I'll also stick to main modern day guys too.
Right.
Yeah. My second one is also modern, and that's Sami Zayn. I think again, skinny body, kind of a pain in the ass backstage, and his pure passion.
he was El Generico.
El
for fuck's
Generico,
sake.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a guy that
Super
fought
skinny.
on
We,
the indies.
we paid $20 to see him in an Elks Lodge in a couple high school gyms forever.
Look who he's
PWG.
become.
Lovely.
The biggest storylines of wrestling last couple years. He rises to the occasion every time.
It's fantastic.
The stuff with Roman, his wife, the IC champ, and they might be coming to an end. And I hope there's only great things for him. But that dude has no business.
He's not feeling very oozy right now. What?
And they loved him for it. Like,
Yeah.
Sami Zayn is fantastic, and the fact he keeps kind of rising to the occasion.
Yeah. No, that's a good one, man.
He's like super talented.
it was a-
and like that's it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
He's
a good
carried
one.
a lot of gold
I
along
didn't
the
even think
way.
of him. He wasn't even on my list.
Okay.
I'm a genius.
You're a genius. This one's gonna make you guys mad, I think. But I think it has merit because you talked about if so and so didn't have a daddy in the business, it wouldn't even be a problem. He'd be a total overachiever. But I think this one's an overachiever, and it's so easy. It feels like low hanging fruit. Cody Rhodes is an overachiever. I don't even know how else to say it. I
He was
can't
on
even.
my list. Cody was on my list.
You can't deny it. You can't deny, like, look, this kid came in with smoke and mirrors, weighed probably like 200 pounds, wet, like he's a little guy, and he's got to own up to his daddy, and
But not even that.
Goldust
Yeah.
is looming all the time.
What are the odds
Goldust
of
is
a
looming
son
around.
of a famous wrestler making it? Very slim. And then Dustin makes it, and Dustin's a big name. Goldust is a legendary character. He did well in WCW,
Mhm.
and then he's the
Right.
third brother. What are the odds of you being as good as your dad and as good as your brother? Like, and then
Yeah.
he's better than both, probably. Like, really,
Yeah.
when you think about it.
And I said this, I think 2 years ago on this pod. I said, I believe what we're seeing right now, this is when, it might have been over 2 years ago because Cody's been with WWE over 2 years. I said it when he was on the verge of coming back, or right when he came back. I said, I think when you start talking about the Rhodes, when you start comparing them, Cody might be the best Rhodes.
Actually, no, I take it back.
ever.
I said probably. I think he is better than his father. Like, I know Dusty gets talked about a lot, but he's world
That is-
champion. Dusty never got the WWF.
Yeah.
World
Never got
title.
that.
Yeah,
That's
he never
why
got
that-
that.
My previous thing about nepotism and coming from Silver Spoon or whatever, or second generation, I think you can overachieve if you become greater than than where you came from. And I think
Yeah,
that's a bigger uphill climb is for
And-
Cody to do that.
and-
become
and
bigger than
being-
Dusty.
Being a little brother or a middle brother, Craig, you understand this too. Just as an older brother, this is a little different. But when you're a middle kid or the youngest, all you want to do is kick the shit out of your older brothers and be better than them. It's something about that. It does break. It does matter. And the route that he had to take to achieve this, he had to basically say, "Please let me go. Stardust is terrible. It sucks ass. It's the worst I've ever done. I'm totally committed to it, but it's not working. Let me go." To go and then decide I'm going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm going to make it work. And he fucking tears the house down there. Then to say that we're going to do our own thing, and we are literally, like, the event was called All In because they went all in on themselves. Him and a couple of other wrestlers. I don't want to talk about them because I don't want to diminish this, moment. But great wrestlers that said, "We'll do it with you." And they sold out a nice little arena, just under 20,000, if I recall correctly. Jesse, you can probably tell me better. And they had a great show, and that spawned a multimillionaire's son to say, "Hey, Maybe we should continue this. And they get Tony Khan, they get another buyers, and that spawns AEW. Like, really, at the end of the day, like that. Maybe I'm not the historian. Maybe I'm overindulging, but you can't tell me that All In didn't kind of spark this mentality. Like, we could do this. We could do something bigger here in the States. And they become a part of AEW. He wins several titles there. And when that stops working out for him, he goes to WWE. And then, long story short, he becomes the Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, beating Roman Reigns, who has one of the biggest tears of streaks in WWE history of owning that title. And he takes him down 2 WrestleManias later. Nobody expected that from Cody Rhodes. When you look at what Dustin was doing with the natural Dustin Rhodes on the Goldust, and then the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and everything he did, and his legacy in NXT, how everybody loved Dusty, and Cody has now surpassed them all.
Cover! Finished the story!
Here is your winner and the new undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes!
Yeah,
I can't wait for that heel turn. I
It's
can't
gonna
wait
be
for the
part
heel
2
turn.
of this. Then this is good. This is good.
There's so much more. We
I still have one
mentioned a
person
lot of
left
people
on my
that are on the
list
list.
that I didn't reveal.
I have like 2 or 3. Like,
Oh, I hear
so keep going. I know we should talk about it offline because don't want to give it up. But these are I already like this topic a lot, so I'm sure we'll do a bunch more in the upcoming weeks. But for audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out exclusive content on Daily Motion at Our Wrestling Podcast, and on social media. Can you give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? For Jess Craig and the Butters, this is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.